I'm Cassandra Albrecht, the Vice Chancellor for Institutional Advancement, and I am pleased to welcome you to our annual State of the University event. We have a full and I think very informative program for you this afternoon, and you will hear more about that in just a bit. The program will run about 90 minutes, but first, it's my honor to welcome Interim Chancellor Gabriella Scarlatta to the podium for some opening remarks.
Thank you, Cassandra, and thank you all for joining us today and for taking time out of your busy schedule. We are going to look back at the past year at UM-Dearborn, and it's been quite a year, right? And look forward to what's ahead. First, please help me welcome, and I don't see him, but I know he's on his way, the Dearborn Heights mayor and his staff. So in case we see them walking, they're supposed to be here, they're going to be here. And of course, Tricia Stein from our Citizens Advisory Committee. We appreciate so much her support everywhere. Thank you. I also want to take a minute to acknowledge Ishmael Ahmed, who passed away last month. Ishmael was a U of M Dearborn alum who returned to the university to serve as an associate provost and advisor to the chancellor. More recently, he was a member of our Citizens Advisory Committee. Ishmael was a tireless advocate in and for the community, and his legacy lives on at this university now more than ever. Now, back to 2025. It was certainly eventful. There were a lot of changes from the very highest levels of government to right here on our campus. Yet, despite all this change, and yes, some uncertainty, we as a university community stayed focused on what we do best, providing a welcoming and accessible campus, driving innovation and impactful research forward, and ensuring that our students put their dreams into practice. And we each have a role to play. From before our students ever step on campus to commencement and even beyond, every one of us contributes to students' success. And this is all in support of our mission, to be a caring, inclusive, student-focused institution that is committed to excellence in teaching, research, and scholarship, as well as access, affordability, and community impact. We developed this mission together as a campus back in 2018. Staying true to it has helped us navigate these changes with clarity and focus. There have been a number of achievements this past year that support our mission. Today, I'm going to focus on some high-level milestones related to our strategic plan priorities, which are student experience and success, faculty and staff excellence, holistic excellence, and economic stability. I'll start with a big one. This past fall, we welcome our second largest first-year class. At least half of those first-year students are earning their degree tuition-free through the Go Blue guarantee. And 35% of all of our full-time students in state undergraduates are attending our university tuition-free. Also, our 6-year graduation rate is up 3% to 60%, and this is the highest 6-year graduation rate in our university history. This kind of progress occurs when faculty and staff, you all, excel and push boundaries, and many of you have been recognized for doing just that. In the interest of time, I'm just going to mention a few accolades. Our colleagues in the College of Education, Health and Human Services, Danielle Defoe and Jonathan Larson, were recently honored with the Exemplary Program Award by the National Association of Community, College, Teacher, Education Programs for their work on a groundbreaking 2+2 transfer partnership with Jackson College. I I also want to recognize Director of Global Engagement, Scott Riggs. I just saw him, but there you are, who was honored with the 2025 U of M President's Award for Education in International Leadership. And Professor of Engineering and Computer Science, Bruce Maxim, where are you, Bruce? Okay, he was here a little earlier, who received the U of M's 2025 Jackie Lawson Memorial Faculty Governance Award. Congratulations to everyone. In terms of research excellence, one of our biggest accomplishments was being, of course, named an R2 institution last year. Here's Bruce. I'd like to especially recognize Associate Professor of Neurobiology, Alina Zhang, whose most recent grant is a partnership with Washington State University with a 1.1 million. Just making sure you were paying attention. Million for her lab. Alina will be developing nanotechnology that aims to treat brain injuries more effectively with fewer side effects. Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering, Wankan Su, received $600 from Toyota. 600,000. Sorry. All right. I've only rehearsed 1,000 times. I don't know. $600,000 from Toyota to develop a suite of AI-powered tools that will address critical challenges in energy systems. And Professor of Mechanical Engineering, Alan Argento, has been awarded $600,000 from the National Science Foundation in partnership with the University of Michigan Medical School. This project has the potential to improve decision-making about surgical intervention in patients with glaucoma. And we'll be hearing more about our faculty's impactful research later in the program. Our faculty and staff were also once again highly visible in the media. Last year, UM-Dearborn appeared in 114 national and local news stories. Now, here's a great UM-Dearborn story. Last night, many of us had the pleasure of attending the premiere of a powerful documentary about the first woman to head a 4-year public university, our own former Chancellor, Blenda Wilson, and a portrait of her that is part of the Stamoulos Gallery collection. The film was produced by UM-Dearborn faculty, staff, and students, and is part of the Tri-Campus Inclusive History Project. Another hallmark of UM-Dearborn is our commitment to community engagement. And I'm very proud to celebrate our recent Carnegie Community Engagement reclassification, a multi-year designation that recognizes our work with partners right here in Dearborn, across the region and state, and of course, Detroit. You'll be hearing more about this later in the program. I also want to acknowledge 2 of our signature community engagement programs who are recognizing milestone anniversaries this year. Our iLab Center for Innovation in the College of Business is turning 20, and our Environmental Interpretive Center is celebrating 25 years. Stay tuned for more information. I'm also very pleased to share that our Look to Michigan fundraising campaign has met more than half of its $60 million goal, with nearly two-thirds of the money raised going towards student success initiatives. This shows us that our donors see and support our impact. So that's a glimpse of where we are at this key moment. Now, where are we going? Looking toward the future, as you all know, the University of Michigan announced last month a new president. I spoke with President-elect Kent Syverud when his appointment was announced, and I can tell you that he is a leader who is very committed to the regional campuses. our leadership team and I are looking forward to working with him and bringing him to Dearborn after he starts in July. The search for a new chancellor for our campus is also underway, and that process will wrap up by the end of this semester. Those are exciting changes, but there are challenges on the horizons too. One of the biggest one of these has been and will continue to be enrollment. We have been planning for years for the decrease in high school graduates, but the situation is now compounded by the significant drop in new international students. We had hoped to see an uptick this semester, but many students are still having trouble and will continue to securing visas. So, new international students enrollment is down 47% from our original projections. Although this is our new reality, we remain hopeful and are being thoughtful and strategic in our response. Provost Kidley is going to share more about enrollment data and strategies later in the program, but I want to briefly touch on some ways we are working to grow our domestic student pipeline. As previously mentioned, the Go Blue Guarantee expansion has attracted more in-state students to our campus. We've launched our new Great Lakes Scholarship, which offers in-state tuition to students from states and provinces that border our Great Lakes. We are growing our dual enrollment partnerships, in particular with Detroit Public Schools. And we recently launched a new Dearborn Adult Success Initiative pilot program in partnership with the Diploma Equity Project. The uncertainty around federal grants continues as well, unfortunately, but as we've seen, our faculty continue to secure significant government grants, as well as corporate and philanthropic support. I thank you for your persistence and creativity. And then, of course, there's AI. It's here to stay. So we are developing opportunities for our students, faculty, and staff to learn how to use and approach it in productive and ethical ways. We were the first university in Michigan to launch a master's program in AI, and it has grown from 21 students in 2021 to 147 students this semester. Every one of our colleges is exploring ways to incorporate instruction and guidance around practical and ethical use of AI into their curricula. And tomorrow, we're hosting a faculty panel discussion at 1 o'clock. Please RSVP. If you haven't done so, it will take place right here. And of course, I want to acknowledge the Hub for Teaching and Learning's many offerings to help us navigate this new AI landscape. Make sure you connect with them. Now, of course, the future is not all challenges. We need to give you a little bit of both. So there are also exciting developments in the horizon. We are making great progress on our plan to bring all 4 colleges to main campus. The Chess AB building will be ready to move in this summer, and the social sciences building's renovations are scheduled to begin in July. It will be the new home for the new College of Business. And of course, we'll be implementing the $5 million strategic investment from Ann Arbor that we announced in the fall. Vice Chancellor for Business Affairs Brian Dady and Provost Cridley will both be speaking about that. So I've covered a lot, but that's because we are all doing a lot, and what we are doing is being noticed. One of the things I've enjoyed the most in my time as Interim Chancellor is getting to meet with alumni and donors all over the United States. Time and time, they tell me about the impact U of M-Dearborn has had on their lives, and they share their enthusiasm for what we're doing now. They celebrate all the ways that we are supporting our new generations of students on their journeys, just as we supported them during their years here on campus. At our December commencement, our keynote speaker, Dr. Sadaf Lodi, a 1996 Castle alum, talked about her time here at UM-Dearborn. This is where I found my community, she said. Powerful. We really are a community here, and as a community, each one of us is helping to transform our students' lives and improve our own lives. I'm so very honored to do this work with all of you. Now, I'm excited to turn, really excited, to turn the program over to some of our colleagues and students so you can hear some important information and learn more about the great work happening on our campuses. So first, Vice Chancellor for Business Affairs, Brian Dady, and Provost Gassan Crilly will discuss our current budget and the proactive ways we are responding to fiscal challenges. They will be followed by two panels, one on faculty research and one on the ways the recent renovation of the RUC, the Rannick University Center, are spurring new collaborations. In between, we'll be sharing some videos, one celebrating our Carnegie reclassification, and two really driving home a notion that is very dear to my heart. We all play a role in student success. So now, I'd like to welcome Brian to the stage.
Thank you, Chancellor Scarlatta. Gassan and I will be tag teaming this presentation. There'll be a bit of a good cop, bad cop dynamic here. Feel free to hold the applause until after Gassan is done. I will not be insulted. Okay, so we're going to start with budget realities. The university is facing significant challenges, not unlike most universities across our country. These uncertainties are creating a lot of uncertainties across enrollment, state funding, and across our expense categories, making our jobs to predict and budget very difficult. As we look at fiscal year 2027, the next fiscal year, we're anticipating this to be a very difficult budget period. That is why we initiated the contingency planning in the fall, where each of the colleges and administrative units went through a 5% budget reduction exercise. So we are going to utilize that exercise. We'll get into the budget in more details later. Also, we'll want to touch on how U of M is supporting our university, but want the caveat that their support is meant for one-time strategic needs. It is not meant to subsidize our operations or to help fill budget shortfalls. So I wanted to highlight some of the challenges. Obviously, this is not a comprehensive list of all the challenges that higher ed is facing. Chancellor Scarlatta mentioned probably the most immediate and biggest impact of the decline in international enrollment. She also talked about, from a domestic side, the enrollment cliff, where we're seeing fewer and fewer traditional age students. All of that is creating a very hyper-competitive environment in higher education. You're seeing flagships continue to expand, and probably will look to expand further as the international pipeline declines on their campus. Universities are also facing significant challenges with their aging buildings and infrastructure, a lot of need to reinvest into the physical plant, also a need to invest in evolving technology such as AI, cybersecurity, the need to have flexible classrooms, new systems that are cloud-based, and then other challenges around state funding, local politics, and of course uncertainty around funding from the state. So with that, I'm going to get into our general fund budget. So at a high level, just to level set, our budget, the general fund, is our main operations. We have two primary revenue sources that fund our budget. Net tuition and fees, which is about 77% of our budget, and state funding, which equates to almost 21% of the funding. That funds our budget. On the expense side, We are a service organization, so we are primarily people. So 78% comes from salaries and benefits. The operations of the university equate to 17.6%. We have a moderate level of debt, and our debt payments only make up 3.4%. And then finally, for capital renewal replacement for deferred maintenance, we only have a 1% allocation in our budget, which we all know is not enough to reinvest in our physical plant. So let's get into the details a bit, starting with our revenues. So for net tuition revenue, the main driver there is enrollment. Chancellor Scarlatta already mentioned the decline in international students that we are dealing with this current fiscal year that has created a revenue shortfall for this year. We are actually anticipating further decline for next year, which is putting a lot of pressure on the next year's budget, fiscal year 2027. The other component of net tuition and fees is actually the bright spot that we've had over the years with two really nice programs, our Go Blue Guarantee program and the expansion of it to the $125,000 threshold. And then the big investment from the state, Michigan Achievement Scholarship, has been a very, very nice program for our students. On the state funding side, lots of uncertainty there. For this year, our appropriations was held flat. They did give us a 3% one-time allocation. That one-time allocation we're using to help cover the revenue shortfall from the international students. For next year, we're assuming flat again, and again, not anticipating a one-time allocation, though we wouldn't include a one-time allocation in our budget. And as far as the capital components, it's not a part of our budget, but I thought I'd highlight there. We do not anticipate there to be a capital outlay bill this year or any supplemental funding like items funding that we received in 2024 that went to things like deferred maintenance. So as we look at the other side of the budget, the expenses, we're feeling a lot of inflation there. So we've got stressed revenue and continued inflation on the expenses. That's not a good combination to have. As we look at salaries, I know everyone would like to see a nice high merit program. The challenge there is when you're dealing with budget shortfalls, you have a trade-off between higher merit and higher budget cuts. It's a difficult decision, one we've not made yet, but it's a really hard one. On the benefits side, we're seeing continued increases in the health insurance. This is a nationwide phenomenon. We've seen a lot of inflation in the last 3 years. We're expecting more inflation for next year. Our estimate is between 8 and 9%. Substantial increases after a lot of increases over the last several years. On the operations side, continued inflation on our contractual obligations as well as our other insurance programs like cyber, property, casualty. And then on the facility side, again, I mentioned 1% allocation. That equates to about $1.5 million. I was hoping that we'd be able to keep increasing that allocation to invest in our physical plant, but we will not be able to do that for this year. So after saying that, where does that leave us for fiscal year 2027? Our current budget estimate right now, although things may change, assumptions may be adjusted, decisions will be made, current estimation is somewhere between $6 million and $7 million of a budget shortfall. That's fairly substantial. We will leverage the contingency planning that we did in the fall. The Executive Budget Committee is meeting with each of the deans and the vice chancellors to walk through those plans. Our intention is to be strategic, not do things across the board. We're going to be working this month with those meetings and then making some preliminary decisions as we're preparing for the first budget presentation to the Board of Regents that will happen in March. Of course, I wish there was better news, but the reduction in international students is hitting us hard. I do want to touch on how U of M is supporting because it's substantial. And as I said before, their intention is not to help us address the budget shortfalls, not to subsidize our operations. They're supporting us in one-time strategic needs or capital needs. The first big investment they made was the Go Blue Guarantee Program. They helped fund the initial launch of the program, but that support has been declining over the years and will end in fiscal year 2027. They will continue to support the expansion when we increase that threshold to 125,000. As Chancellor Scarlatta mentioned, they're investing in our regional campuses, $5 million to Dearborn and Flint. We are hoping that that will continue. Ghassan will talk more about how we're using those funds on the academic side. I just want to note that we're having a significant allocation of that money towards capital renewal and replacement to help invest in our physical plant. And then the large investment that Ann Arbor is making is that Strategic Initiative Fund as part of the Look to Michigan campaign. I think it's $100 million every year. All 3 campuses are eligible for that program, and we just submitted 12 different proposals, so cross your fingers. And then finally, I talked about that we're going to use a portion of that $5 million to invest in our physical campus. I just want to highlight some of the priorities that we have. Chancellor Scarlatta already mentioned the administration building. That should be done this spring. And then we will start construction on the social sciences building. Our next priority is the Mardigan Library to renovate the first floor, probably a few years away from that as we build up the funds. And then our submission for capital outlay to the state has been the Computer and Information Science building. We don't know when a capital outlay bill will be available. As far as the replacements and repairs, we're focused on a number of areas, replacing and fixing roofs, replacing electrical switch gears. You may not know what those are, but they're expensive. The library one is over $2.5 million. We're also looking at upgrading boilers and chillers, fire alarm systems, and then control systems. So with that, I'm going to bring up my good cop partner, Ghassan Cridley, who will hopefully lighten up the mood.
Thank you, Brian.
I just broke it.
That's all right. That's really a tough act to follow. But some of you may not know that Brian is a proud Ohio State Buckeye. So let's show him how the Wolverines address the challenge. All right. So we start by taking challenges and turning them into opportunities. Our biggest challenge, as you heard, is enrollment. So what we're doing is looking at how we can take what we have right now and turn it into additional pipelines, into flexible growth opportunities. And what I will do in this presentation is show you how we're doing this. So why am I confident that we're going to do well in our plans? We have a strong, dedicated community of faculty and staff. We have a strong mission that we all embrace. We also have a commitment to excellence in everything we do, and we also know how to innovate. So in this presentation, I'll show you some of the strategic initiatives. I'll talk about some of the early successes and think about what we're going to do next. So here's something that the colleges are doing. I'm not going to read the slides. So the first thing I would like to say is 2025, summer 2025, we realized international student enrollment is not going to be where we wanted it to be. Right away, we went full steam ahead. Everybody started talking. We got all our colleagues, faculty, staff in the colleges to start thinking about how do we plan for this? You know, it's the first quarter, we're down. We still have 3 quarters to play. So what I'm showing you here are some of the things that the colleges have been working on. And we'll put them in groups. So one of the ways is how do we expand our reach? Another group is how do we offer flexible programming for our students? Another one is how to increase our pipelines. And a fourth one is how to retain more of our students. So we're working on all of these, and you can see some of the initiatives on the slide that the colleges have been doing. So talking about the pipeline, we've created and we are working on enhancing our dual enrollment pipeline so that we can attract more high school students earning our own credit so that they can enroll at UM-Dearborn and finish their degrees in shorter time periods. We're looking at simplifying the transfer process So the colleges worked on simplifying the policies that we've had. We've had some of the strictest policies in the state, and we've simplified them, but also started thinking about how do we transfer, instead of a course to course, how do we transfer a block of courses to a block of courses, which made it much more possible to award additional credit to community college graduates. We also launched a program. As you know, many of our students and our graduates come back to get a master's degree. Some of them come here, some of them go to other schools. What we've developed is an accelerated master's degree program that actually allows students to finish a master's degree in 5 years. Well, I'm really proud to say that all 4 colleges are doing this, and we have under development and going through approvals, the first one that goes across colleges. We have students, yep, yeah. Kudos to Castle and Engineering. Students can earn a bachelor's degree in psychology and get a master's degree in human-centered engineering and design. This is in 5 years. And I hope to see more of these initiatives which help us get our students, give them more options. The Chancellor talked about the Diploma Equity Project, which we partnered with the Diploma Equity Project, a nonprofit organization in Southeast Michigan. She talked about the Great Lakes Scholarship. So what we've done with the Diploma Equity Project is this is a program for adult learners. We're aging. We have a lot of students or a lot of people who earn some college credit, did not finish their degrees. So we're trying to create opportunities for them to come to UM-Dearborn and earn their degrees. We are the first 4-year institution that joined the Diploma Equity Project in the state of Michigan. And what we did is we hired a success coach that helps these students navigate college so that they can actually progress in their studies. And we had a presentation this morning about the success of this project, and I'm proud to say that we've had about 100 students in the fall, about 50 or more in the winter semester, and they're doing really well, average GPA 3.27, so great achievement for all of us. I also want to add that as we're growing, we need to retool, so this is a great approach to get us additional student pipelines. The Great Lakes Scholarship expands our reach, so now we're not just recruiting in Michigan, but we're recruiting in other states as well. We have programs that are desirable, are unique to UM-Dearborn, and this opportunity will allow students to join our programs. Another way to add flexibility is our online programs. So all 4 colleges are working on ideas and innovative ways of utilizing online programs. We're talking about completion programs. We're talking about leveraging the Michigan Online initiative. We have 2 master's programs we're hoping to launch in the fall, a certificate program as well. If you don't know Michigan Online, this is a platform that allows us to offer our degrees globally. So students around the world can actually enroll in these degree programs. So kudos to Chess, Castle, and CECS, the first 3 programs that are being offered through Michigan Online. Other things to celebrate, well, you've heard about the enrollment cliff. We've heard about decreasing number of high school graduates. We can be proud to say that for the past 3 years, we've enrolled the largest 3 classes, first-year classes, in the history of the University of Michigan-Dearborn. Let me say this again. Yes, the largest 3 classes. What this says is that we have programs. We know how to attract students. We have programs that they want. We have a brand that they're interested in, and we just need to offer these opportunities to other kinds of learners. Our chess colleagues expanded our reach through their agreements, and now we have the 2+2 agreement with community colleges that Chancellor talked about. These are allowing students to finish their degrees remotely. So now we're offering programs in the UP, offering programs in West Michigan, in South Michigan, and in North Michigan. This is not something we were able to do before, but with these programs now we're expanding our reach and reaching new learners. Yeah. Our College of Business and our College of Education, Health, and Human Services launched new programs. These programs are already showing promise and attracting a good number of students. They address market needs, and we're really proud to see what they have done. Our College of Engineering and Computer Science launched a new innovative way of flexibility for graduate learners. So what they did is they developed a self-paced graduate online program. They just developed the first course and piloted it. Without marketing, they already enrolled 25 students in this class. The 4+1 programs, the accelerated master's programs, in the winter semester alone, we added 15 students of our own who stayed to finish their degrees. So great accomplishments on everybody's. We're proud that our College of Business has been selected to offer the Tech MBA program through the University of Michigan Center for Innovation in Detroit. This is a program that's not competing with our MBA, but creating a new pipeline, a different kind of students that will join the College of Business. And they're planning to launch in a couple of years. We should all be proud with everything we do that enhance our student satisfaction in our programs and our university. We conduct an annual survey, and in the past year, we've increased significantly how our students are satisfied with our programs. This is really important for retaining our continuing students. And finally, we've been meeting with key high school, feeder high schools to inform them of the opportunities we have and the scholarships. You've heard about how about half of our first-year students are getting free tuition. About 30% are getting, of all the students are getting free tuition. We're promoting that to these feeder high schools. And we've got great responses from them. So now how do we fund all of this? You've heard about the $5 million strategic fund. What we did is we took parts of the fund. Vice Chancellor Dady talked about some of the aspects from facilities and development point of view. We took some of the fund to invest in marketing and promoting our brand. We took some of the funds to support students, our continuing students, by supporting maybe research for undergrad experiences. We are investing in faculty, but the way we're investing is not individual faculty, rather programs that if somebody, and we already have 3 proposals for programs that want to go online. So we're providing them funding to launch these programs and develop them. We're also investing in interdisciplinary research opportunities. These opportunities help faculty across the colleges to collaborate, and you'll see the faculty panel now and see about the work they do. What we aim to do with these is, well, we increase our research, this increases our reputation, increases our ranking, and makes us a more recognized institution. So, what I wanted to say is, this could not have been done just by administrators or individual faculty members. This took all of us to work together to make it happen. So, I want to say how I'm proud to be a member of this community that is dedicated to excellence, that focused on finding solutions. When things were down, we rose to the challenge, and we started doing work that is going to help us weather the storm. I know that what we have established so far, what I showed you so far, is setting up us to grow, is helping us to expand our pipelines and our reach, and amplifying our impact beyond our Southeast Michigan region. Now, what we all do, and what we need to continue to do, is to double down on the things that help us stay connected to our students and supporting our students. This is what differentiates us from other places. I was fortunate to talk to a student yesterday who aspired to go to Ann Arbor. She didn't get in, came here, was disappointed, and now she's saying, I'm not going to Ann Arbor after the first semester. This is what we do and what we do best. So we just continue to create welcoming environments for our students. We continue to identify areas where our students struggle, whether it's academic, it's financial, it's mental health. Let's refer them to resources. We have tremendous resources that students don't pay for. So let's refer them to these resources. And let's all, if you have any ideas for areas in your work where you can improve things, improve processes, improve the student experience, please bring them up. We would be more than happy to work with you to make things happen and make things better. And finally, being ambassadors. We're all ambassadors for UM-Dearborn, because a lot of what we do is people know about us through our activities, our successes, and our initiatives. So please continue to be a great ambassador for the university and continue to refer outstanding students to us. Now, with this said, this is the end of my presentation. I really want to thank you all, and I want to, on behalf of all of us in the administration, to express sincere appreciation to everybody for all you do, for making us such a great place and an enjoyable place to work, and supporting each other. So thank you. Now, I ended by talking about ambassadors. Our faculty, staff, and students engage in community and are some of our best ambassadors. The Chancellor talked about our reclassification as a Carnegie engaged university, and we're very proud of this. So what we're going to see now is, what you're going to hear now and see is a little more about this distinction.
This is a great moment of pride for our university, as UM-Dearborn was just reclassified as a community-engaged campus by the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching. This recognizes the great work our faculty, staff, and students do on a daily basis in Dearborn and across the region and state. Community impact is a key component here at the University of Michigan-Dearborn, and it is woven in so many of our courses, activities, and research across the university. Since 2015, when we were first classified, we have grown so much across all 4 colleges and the campus as a whole.
My partnership is with a nonprofit local to Detroit here called Humble Design Detroit. They help families who are moving out of homeless situations by furnishing their home that they've secured for themselves. This semester, students are working to help them create a platform to keep in touch with their past clients.
We're getting to some really actionable steps now with these students and some of the ideas they're bringing forward and the solutions they're bringing forward in terms of our client outreach and our client communications. And it all goes back to our community and serving our mission.
What surprised me the most is just how good it feels, because you know it's going to help others. My work in the future, I want it to be where I can see my result and it's not just paperwork.
Without a doubt, this project would not have been possible without the student group. It's really an interesting thing for me to think into the future of what could be possible and to continue a partnership with the university and with Dr. Song.
And this is a good experience for them to apply what they have learned in the classroom, right, to solve the real world problem. It changed my way of doing research. I kind of feel applied research is a good way to create value for the community partner and then create value for the students as well.
I feel that before I saw computer science and coding as something that couldn't help people, that couldn't benefit the world in some way, but working with Friends of the Rouge has really helped with that.
We were doing sort of these community engagement events where we were really talking to the community about what they wanted out of this project. A lot of the folks who are interviewing are people who, you know, they've said, like, no one has really asked me for my story before. A lot of the intergenerational connections. I think we've all brought very different perspectives. It's helped the project to be stronger, but also I think it's just helped us to be better humans in the world.
This has meant so much to me, and it's made me learn about who I am and understand who my people were, and has helped me all around be a better person.
The graphic novel is something that is getting us extremely motivated. It's eye-opening. It's amazing to meet with these artists.
It's just a way to express yourself and to know that there are others that enjoy the type of things you enjoy, and it makes you feel part of a larger group.
That becomes something that people really treasure, and they see their culture nicely represented.
This makes this class different from the more traditional academic aspect, because they were interacting with real writers and artists who are not academics, who are not teachers, who are just here to talk to them and to work actually with them. And I think academia is at a point where it really needs to become more in touch with the community and with student needs and with professionals. It makes the students feel connected to the real world, and it opens new windows for them.
The Office of Community Engaged Learning works to facilitate and support community partnerships for research and course projects, and we also work to lift up our community voice across campus. We are incredibly proud and honored to support our campus community and all of the amazing work they're doing in our local community and across the region.
Navigating the tall chairs is always. Is it on? Is it on? We go, okay, good. Sorry. Navigating the tall chairs is always like the most daunting task of doing this event. Hello, everyone. My name is Joan Remsky, and I am honored to serve as Vice Provost for Research and Dean of Graduate Studies here on our campus. I'm going to present with you today an overview of the research enterprise here on our campus, and share a panel of amazing faculty members who will share their experiences in obtaining sponsored research funding. Our panel was too big, we could not all fit on the stage. So we're doing this in two pieces. We'll do 2 faculty members, and then we have another 3 that will join us. So last year at this time, we celebrated a historic milestone, our first ever R2 classification from the Carnegie Foundation. So this prestigious classification stems from 2 things: our research expenditures, which are dollars that are spent from research accounts, and the number of doctoral degrees we award. Most importantly, it honors the outstanding contributions of our amazing faculty and researchers here on campus. But we've not stopped there. As you can see in this slide, our research expenditures have continued to grow, breaking records for the last 3 fiscal years and reaching $13.8 million in fiscal year 25. Even more impressive, the total award dollars that our faculty bring in continues to grow. And they've secured, and more faculty have secured funding with external sponsors on our campus than ever before in our history. So just like Brian and Ghassan had a little good cop, bad cop, we have a little bit of that going as well. As we look ahead to fiscal year 26, it's clear we're also navigating a more challenging landscape in the research space. The federal government shutdown significantly impacted federal awards for the past year, but the resilience and innovation of our faculty have been really amazing. They continue to submit compelling proposals through the Office of Research, and the diverse portfolio of research sponsors has helped us buffer potential losses. You can see on the slide the average award size has actually increased, even though the total number of awards is down significantly. So that's really something to be proud of. The numbers tell one story, and if you know me, the numbers are usually my favorite story. But the real story is in the work itself, so I'd like to transition and introduce some of our faculty members who have secured very large federal awards this past year. So let me introduce to my left Professor Zhen Hu from Industrial and Manufacturing Engineering, and Elena Zhang in Neurobiology. Zhen, do you want to talk about your work?
All right. Okay, thank you, Jill. Hi, everyone. I'm Associate Professor from CECS. Today, I'm going to talk about my research on inland waterway. So inland waterway networks I show here is very essential for transporting goods. The locks, you can see the Sioux Lock in Michigan on that slide is a very critical component of those networks. So if the lock is closed due to failure, it can cost the U.S. economy multiple $1 million per day. You can imagine that if the lock is failed, we need months or year to fix that. That's cost us a lot of money for the U.S. economy, right? So in this project, what we are doing is we integrating AI and machine learning techniques with physics-based failure forecasting and to better predict lock failures and optimize the maintenance scheduling. So the goal is to reduce the lock downtime and also minimize the impact of the inland waterway disruption on the U.S. economy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alina Zhang, Associate Professor of Neurobiology. I'm investigating the pathogenesis of brain injuries and also using nanomedicine in the treatment of the injuries. My team is developing a smart nano platform that can deliver drugs to the target cells, making the process more efficient and safer. Thank you.
So thank you both for that very brief and amazing overview of your work. I'm sure you skipped over a few details. I just want to ask, because I'm curious, I know each of you, these projects started as seed grants from the Office of Research here on our campus, and Gassan talked about some investment in seed funding this year. I'm wondering if you can describe how you turned small amounts of money into these amazing federal awards.
All right. I joined the UM-Dearborn in 2017. All right. So at the beginning, I do not have any funding. I'm very struggling and I'm very stressful. Fortunately, I get some seed grant. At that time, it's called IVS. That's my first grant. So those seed grants give me a lot of confidence and also encouragement. And because of that, I was that can get me started. You know. After that, I started to get some industry fundings because of seed grant, and then use those industry fundings that generate some preliminary results, right? And use the preliminary results, I read a proposal to federal agencies and start to get some federal grants. Yeah, that's my journey. Yeah, thanks.
In fact, had similar experiences like Zheng's. Before I applied for the external grants, I secured several internal grants. For example, M-Cubed and Seed Grant, and also Sure. I used those internal grants with my startup, get lots of data, and then I use the data for applications of my external grants. So I'm very grateful for our internal support.
Great. So just one quick follow-up for Elena. I know that the first version of this award that you wrote was rejected, and I know that's not uncommon, but it can also be very hurtful. I'm wondering if you can tell us how you turned things around to receive this large award.
Of course, absolutely. It's never easy to secure fundings. As you mentioned, one of my grants was rejected, the first submission. So my team got together. We decided just go for it. So we did more experiments, got more data, and addressed all the reviewers' comments, resubmitted. And the second time, we got the funding. But I have to say this is teamwork. I cannot do it by myself. I'm so grateful to my collaborators, our students, our staff members, and also leadership. And I'm just feel like so lucky.
Oh, we certainly feel lucky. I think we're certainly the lucky ones. So thank you both for your contributions here today. We really appreciate this. Thanks for sharing. All right, and next up, I'm pleased to present the second half of our panel. These are folks who have secured funding from some more interesting kinds of places like industry and foundations. So please join me in welcoming Irene Al-Sayed, Assistant Professor in Industrial and Systems Manufacturing Engineering, Natalie Sampson, Professor of Public Health, and Adam Sekuler, Assistant Professor of Journalism and Media Production. So we'll start with Irene to talk about her work.
Awesome. Thank you, John. It's too bright in here. Didn't realize that. I am Irene Al-Sayed, and I'm Assistant Professor of Industrial Engineering, and I'm a Human Factors Researcher. The work I do is basically understanding how humans and increasingly intelligent systems work together or should work together. Many times when these systems fail, it's not because of the system capabilities or the sensors or anything technical. It's because the person or the human and the system were operating under different assumptions. And I try to resolve this. This is one example here where we're looking at increasingly automated vehicles in particular. And I'm pretty sure you all have seen or tried adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist feature, all those. They're great, they're incredible, they improve safety. Now, as automation increases, one question emerges is, should these be packaged and presented to the driver as one system, or should they be separated? And then if they're separated, how many systems, how many different features should they be? From an engineering or a technical point of view, it's not that different, but from a human, from a psychology background, it's very different because it gets to the point where it's understanding who's responsible for what and when. So in this project, we do simulator studies where we bring people in, they experience different configuration, different system architectures. We collect a ton of data. We look at physiological data, eye tracking, eye gaze allocation, driving performance and behavior overall to see which one is the best configuration, but then to also build models that are able to detect any mismatch or misalignment in the system state and in the person's understanding. In this work, this work brought, I guess, a group of students from different backgrounds. We have a few students from the human-centered design engineering, and then we also have engineering students from many different backgrounds working on developing simulations, prototyping interfaces, dashboards, all that, and then data analysis and data science to build these models.
Thanks for having us, everyone. So my name's Natalie Sampson, as was stated, professor in public health, and my work is mostly in collaboration with folks throughout Metro Detroit focused on addressing environmental health inequities. So most of you probably know we are, or hopefully you know, we have some of the worst air quality in the country, unfortunately. And climate change is here, it's happening, it's multiplying health inequities. So this is something we work with countless partners on, doing what we call community-based participatory research. So this means we are designing that study from day one, research questions, methods, how we want to share that information out to the world, all together with various partners, and that's community residents, leaders, agencies, lots of youth-based work with colleagues in this room. And this is just one quick example that became more timely than I was expecting as I was putting this together. We've been doing what's called a health impact assessment for the Gordie Howe International Bridge, recognizing the environmental impacts for those who are living around the footprint of where this bridge is coming, and have been able to take that data to garner support and get $41 million for a community benefit city-state agreement, working on solutions like fugitive dust ordinance, changing truck routes, making sure that those who are still living nearby have clean air indoor so they can be safe, and a whole host of data evidence-based recommendations. So just one quick example, and just lots of support from both this campus and Ann Arbor, and as you can see, other funders to make this happen, quite a patchwork. So I'll hand it off.
I'm Adam Sekuler. I'm an assistant professor in journalism and media production in Castle and documentary filmmaker, and the project that I'm talking about is not complete yet. It's called the Untitled Clifftop Documentary. This project was supported initially through Dearborn Scholars Grant here on the campus, and then I received some funding through the Arts Research Incubation and Acceleration Program at the Ann Arbor campus. I brought 2 students with me to the Clifftop Music Festival. This festival takes place every year in West Virginia. 4,000 musicians gather to commune around their shared passion of old-time music. They come from a really wide, diverse background, and it's one of the few places in our culture where you're able to find folks who might disagree politically, but somehow find the space to commune around their shared passion of music. The students came through a Shore grant, and also the the grant that I received through Ann Arbor. I also received some funding to bring a student with.
So I love that each person here has talked about just a very different range of sponsors for their work. And you can tell here at Dearborn, sometimes we have to be a little scrappy and go to lots of different places to put small awards together. I want to start with a follow-up for Irene and ask her about, when you work with industry, when your support comes from industry, Is that process similar or is it different? And do you feel like you have the same creative control as you would if it were your own project?
You mean different or similar to a federal grant in that sense? I feel like with industry, there is a wide spectrum. It can be very similar to federal in some ways, or it can sometimes be a project that is very close to production. So it could be as simple as, should this alert go on for 2 seconds or 3 seconds? And we conduct a study like this, 2 seconds versus 3 seconds, and like tell them, yeah, should be 3 seconds. That's it. Others are more like, let's understand why are people taking 3 seconds to look at that meter instead of looking at this meter. And then in that sense, they're more interested in understanding the underlying cognitive processes that are like happening. And that looks a lot more similar to a federal grant. Even the processes, like the first part, it's a lot more based on connections, and it's usually like local companies that know that you do something and might reach out to you. Then, like, again, it's a wide spectrum, so sometimes it's a combination of both, but the other, sometimes it's a call for proposal, and they accept, like, we have this problem, propose different solutions, and that's how it goes.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for that. I also wanted to follow up with Natalie. She has this like almost constellation of different sponsors, and all of these connections in so many different places. Like, I think it's really cool. How did you go out and establish all of those connections to work on such a timely project?
Yeah, so I think that part of it is a program like SURE that kicked me off as an undergrad, and being someone who's lucky enough to be born in Michigan and start those partnerships early. So I've been here long enough, so part of it is just relational. I think having built trust with community partners who are experiencing a lot of these health inequities and environmental justice issues is a huge part of it. And I think also recognizing that we're working on a very different timeline, and our projects look very different within academia than maybe on the ground, in trying to navigate together. Again, some of these issues and policy ordinances and changes don't happen at the pace of a grant and, 1 year funding's up and we're done. So a lot of it is checking in with real life and seeing how we can work with research to pace ourselves in a way that can actually address real issues.
I love that. That's so cool. And Adam, working in the creative space, especially today, it's so difficult to find funding there. You've done some really admirable work. I also love that, and I think each person on the stage has mentioned including students in their work, but you especially have really taken students under your wing. I wonder if you could talk a little bit more. You mentioned SURE. In case the audience doesn't know, can you share a little bit more about that process?
Sure. So that's a grant here on the campus called the Student Undergraduate Research Experience, or Summer Undergraduate Research Experience. And you can find some funding to support a student in your research. And in fact, on our project, the student made more money than the rest of us. Not that the grants that I received weren't substantial, but filmmaking takes a lot of people. So this is a way for a student to kind of embed with you in the process of you doing the research that you're up to here on the campus.
I love that. I feel like working with students is what we do best, and so it's amazing to see them included in this work. Let's take a moment and thank our panelists today. This is a really great presentation. And just before we go, I'd like to thank our entire team in the Office of Research for supporting all of the incredible research and creative work that goes on here on our campus. From matchmaking, finding funding opportunities for our faculty members, all the way through to grant closeouts, your Office of Research is here to support your work. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. We're always happy to support you. And thank you so much.
My name is Michael Olaniran. I'm a graduate student at the UM-Dearborn. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria. I moved to Canada 6 years ago. I met Mike, my co-founder, at work in Canada, and then we decided to apply to UM-Dearborn together. for graduate studies. We contacted the Office of International Affairs and they helped us through the process. And then we moved here in fall of 2024, and that was when the journey began for us as student entrepreneurs. Our company is called OperaBills, and we've developed an app that can help to defend against unwanted online subscriptions.
The idea of OperaBills started when I was struggling to cancel my subscription. And then we believed that this might be a common problem.
From the ideation stage, we went to the College of Business to see the dean, and then we were asked to talk to Professor Timothy Davis because he's in charge of iLabs. We're like, we just wanted an appointment to come talk to you about this anytime you're free. And he's like, no, you're welcome to talk to me right now.
Michael and Mike walked in my office one day. They said they had a business idea. They really were just open and curious, and they wanted to know what they could do next. And in this case, we had a really great alum who's in Nigeria that has a similar technology-based project, and they were able to connect with him and learn more. Recognizing that Michael and Mike's project was technology-driven, I introduced him to folks at the University of Michigan's Ann Arbor campus at the Center for Entrepreneurship, as well as Innovation Partnerships, so that they could find a broader part of our network.
We're connected to Innovation Partnership at UMich, who provided us with interns that helped us to develop the MVP.
Afterwards, we contacted the Dean of College of Engineering and introduced us to Professor Kaz Ravi, and that was when we started the patent process.
EPIC is our new innovation center that we launched last year in 2025. EPIC stands for Entrepreneurship, Practice, and Innovation Center. It's an initiative that is helping us help our students create inventions and student-owned patents. We work directly with the students. We show them the patent process. We provide instruction, but we also support them at every step of the way in translating an invention into a patent. It was really a great pleasure working with them because they accomplished the expected output very quickly, and they did a really good job with it.
Once we filed our patent application with EPIC, we went back to Innovation Partnership, who connected us to Anabo Spark.
And then we applied for the Spark grant funding, and lucky enough for us, we got the funding of $75,000 Business Accelerator grant. From there, the grant has helped us to build the product further to a more robust personal finance management app.
The experience has been a great one, from going to the university ecosystem, getting all the resources that we need, and now the idea is becoming a reality. And we are launching our OperaBills in April.
Mike and I were very excited at the opportunities and resources that were actually open to us within the university. You have real life, hands-on practical skills that you take away from the program. And it's been the highlight of our education here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Joan is right about the chairs. I'm Kristen Palm. I'm the Director of Communications here, and I'm very excited to be speaking with some of my colleagues and some of our students today about the recent renovations to the Renwick University Center right here on the first floor and how those are spurring new collaborations in support of student success. So if you haven't seen these renovations yet, I highly encourage you to head out these doors. As soon as this event ends, take a left and a right and check them out. But in the meantime, you can see right here what's been going on, and what you're looking at right now is what's being called the campus living room, and has become a really popular student gathering space. And on the next slide, you're seeing our new presentation space and behind the scenes in our one-stop. There are new meeting rooms, and I think it's really important to note that a lot of programs have moved over from Fairlane. So you're seeing, centralized services in the building and a lot easier access, and that's where that collaboration comes in. I want to acknowledge the core design and installation team who are responsible for this project. There were many other people involved as well, but these people put in more hours than anyone probably. And you know, you can see from the slides and you'll see out these doors, it's really beautiful. Really beautiful. And that is great because we want to be putting our best foot forward. But where the rubber really hits the road, right, is how is the space getting used? Is it helping the university meet our goals, especially around student success? And I'm very pleased to be joined to speak about that by Urena Pridemore, who's our Director of Undergraduate Enrollment Management, Chris Day, our Director of University Union and Events, and 2 lead student ambassadors from our one-stop, Jackson Stone and Fred Green. So, Urena, let's start with you. You're focused on bringing students to the university, and we thank you very much for that. So how do you see the new space supporting this?
Thank you so much, Kristen. I was very excited when I was as I was asked to be on this panel. One of the reasons is, many of you are aware, I've known a lot of you for a long time, that I actually served on the original committee that did the renovation from the University Mall to the University Center. So way back in the day, there were many things that we wanted to do that we couldn't do. So now being able to be on the new committee was very meaningful to me, because one of the things we really wanted to do was create meaningful spaces for students, ways for students to engage. And now if you walk into the University Center, that's ways students can do that. Ghassan mentioned earlier that we brought some key partners to campus this last semester. We brought Dearborn Public Schools administrators and counselors. What was exciting about that, if you're not aware, many of them are U of M-Dearborn alums, just like myself. So when we toured the building, they were so excited. A lot of them said, just like me, I'm very jealous that this is how it looks now. And I agree, because these students that were sitting there, they were studying, they were conversing. We showed them the presentation room. They were very excited to be able to see what prospective students could do as well. One of the things they pointed out, if you haven't seen the fireplace or the Black M, they were very excited. They were like, look at all the students just sitting by there. So for me, that was very meaningful, because they're being able to see how they can go back and tell their students how the University of Michigan-Dearborn is a welcoming, homely place for them to be able to really interact. But I must admit, for selfish reasons, one of the most important things that was meaningful to me was the new presentation space. I've been doing this work for over 20 years. And I toured many places. I went to many universities, and I saw cool places where their admissions offices could present to their students. Now we get to do the same thing. There is a branded presentation space. So when families come in, when parents come in, they see the University of Michigan-Dearborn as soon as they walk in that door. But more importantly, we have great AV, so we can do presentations for students who are at home and on campus at the same time. The ability to reach people more and more places is so important. And for us, reaching students other places is how we're going to increase enrollment at the University of Michigan-Dearborn. So it's very exciting to see it from way back in the 1990s to now, and how we've really improved.
I love getting that historical perspective. So now thinking about our currently enrolled students, and Jackson, what are you seeing behind the scenes or even in front of the scenes at the One Stop, and how the renovations are helping you there?
Yeah, so working at One Stop, I've seen firsthand how really important these renovations have been in improving our experience serving students. So one of the main things that I think has really contributed to this is the improved collaboration and communication that we're now able to have directly in person with all the partner offices that we work with. They've added the new, you saw on the slide previously, the new desk spaces and office spaces in the back there that all of the partner offices can sit and work, and they do often sit and work. So now at One Stop, we're able to directly see them, communicate with them in person. It's just increased a teamwork feeling and an overall bonded vibe. And this is really important for us as One Stop, because it translates directly into how we can then help students. When we become more knowledgeable and more understanding about how all these offices work, we can then assist students in a more efficient manner, with more informed information, and with just an overall timely manner. This is definitely very important. Another thing that I also think is really important about the renovated space of the One Stop is the front desk area. So our front desk area is now much more open and accessible. This is really important for students. A lot of times when they first come in, if it's their first semester, maybe they don't know where to go to get assistance, they need to look for the One Stop. and they might not know where to look. Now we're located directly right in front of the front doors at RUC. When they first walk in, we're right there. We're out in the open. They can see us. This is also really important for when we do campus tours. So we do multiple campus tours a week. We have incoming prospective students coming in with their parents and families, and they also don't know where to go. So us being there is really important. I've heard firsthand from all these students on these tours and these parents how much they love the renovated space. Specifically, like Urena mentioned, the Block M. There's a Block M right by our front desk as well. And I know that when students come in for the Michigan experience, seeing this Block M, they love to take pictures in front of it. I've definitely held like countless times I've held up the phone and taken pictures for the families for them. Everyone loves it. It's really great for both current students here at UM-Dearborn and also prospective incoming students as well.
Thank you. You know, I love that example of taking those photos, because you cannot buy that kind of attachment. It's organic and it's authentic. What you can do, though, is take those photos and put them on social media, and then it is free advertising, and you know I love that. So it's really, really important. You know, it adds to what we're doing, and those examples that Ghassan shared about what we're going to be doing as an institution, you build on it with these types of more organic interactions as well. Now, Chris, nobody's having more authentic, organic interactions in this building each day than you, because you're here more than anyone else. So what are you seeing in the building throughout the day?
We are busy, and we love it again. You know, we had a real downturn after COVID. We are seeing people want to be back in our space. We are seeing people use the space for events such as this. You know, and we have a mock rock event tonight, and then tomorrow we have another program about AI. You know, I stayed last night for Dr. Wilson's premiere, and it was amazing. Like, I left with such a great feeling because the event was great, the organization was great. And it just brings, again, you know, having this space is incredibly empowering for us, because it puts such a good foot forward when we're inviting the community into our spaces for events and things like that. So we are busy hosting over to 20 to 30 events a day in the RUC again. Our student employees are learning so much through those experiences, which is, again, critical to their development and their experience on campus. The small meeting rooms by the Fireside Lounge are being used by departments and student organizations daily. The study booths, if you see those in the back of the Fireside Lounge, are full from open to close. As soon as our doors open in the morning, students are already sitting there, and our building managers are kicking people out of the building every single night as well, and we love it. You know, students are relaxing on the couches. They're posting selfies like we've already talked about. They're participating in online classes or meetings between their their in-person meetings. Sometimes they have an on-class or an online class they need to duck into. You know, so we're creating those spaces for them. There's just so much laughter also. You know, if you walk through the space, if you sit there and listen for a while, you're hearing some great noise. We're a noisy building at times, but a lot of it is just so much of the laughter, and we are thrilled to see that back here in the RUC. You know, now we are the place where people are gathering, and it feels very comfortable to be in the space. You can sit and you can rest for a while. The RUC is really our student union for our campus. It is our campus community center. It's our campus living room, or third space, if you're familiar with that. It's really where a place where a person feels comfortable to be themselves, and we're thrilled to be that spot for our campus. And also, as we consolidate from the Fairlane Center, we've got some challenges ahead of us. We are going to become the only non-academic space that's available to students outside of the field house. So that means that we have a really important role that we're even going to be expanding more into. So some of the things that we're doing a little bit differently, the new lounges are not reservable. We are trying to protect this space for students, so students really do have a space that they don't have to work around others. They aren't getting bumped out of. It is truly their space. If they sit down, they know they can stay there for hours if they need to. You know, we've just set up a puzzle by the Fireside Lounge just this week, so students can just stop by and work on it once in a while. Just take a break, relax, do nothing but a puzzle for a couple of minutes. We're hosting monthly meetings with the leaders of the departments in the building so we can collaborate more and support each other's work. We've seen some great outcomes from that already. We're partnering with Career Services to help students and recent alum who need a quiet space for an interview. We don't think about that as a need, but it is. Also, same for START. Sometimes they work with students who need a quieter space so they don't get overwhelmed when they're in a busy office environment. They just need a quiet space to meet one-on-one with somebody. And because, like Urena mentioned, because of these renovations, we're all able to do a much better job at kind of serving the students where they're at. It also just helps that so many resources are back together, like we just talked about too. I think about it as really the life cycle of a student is all, a lot of it's contained now within the RUC. We go from recruitment to admissions to orientation, advising, involvement, student employment, academic support, counseling, career services, and even commencement. All of these things are located here, and we're able to help students through every phase of their college career, and really find that they are finding their place here. They're able to stay here, and we've just done I feel like we're doing just a much better job of meeting students where they need to be.
Thank you. And Fred, in addition to working at the One Stop, you are a student. And so tell us a little bit about what kind of interactions you are having in the building.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of tying back to the list we got there about some of the different offices and partner offices that we have working out of RUC. Out of that one-stop office, we are working collaboratively with a lot of them and having those face-to-face interactions. That way we can bring kind of the best of ourselves to the student body, the student population. And so, when we were talking about this, I was thinking back to some of the interactions that I've had in our office face-to-face with some of our other partner offices and their advisors. And one that always just comes to mind, it was a few months back, and we were talking about the EIC, the Environmental Interpretive Center, and the nature trail that we have on campus. And I learned for the first time, I've been on campus for about 1.5 years now, I had no idea that we do maple tapping. And had no idea that we do maple tapping, collect syrup, they will go over the whole production process. And so that kind of piqued my interest. And shortly after that, my wife and I scheduled one of the events that they were hosting out of the EIC. They were doing I think it was called a Wolf Moon. It was a night hike through the trail where they were pointing out some of the different footprints, the different animals on the trail, and it concluded with a bonfire and making hot cocoa. And it's by having those interactions with those partner offices and their advisors, building those relationships, it's helping our ambassador team build those relationships, feel more comfortable, build that familiarity. That way, when we go to help out and a student has a question, we feel comfortable going to those partner offices for answers.
So an interaction you had in this building connected you to clear on the other side of campus,
Yeah.
and that's where you're spending some of your time as well now.
Yeah.
That's how it should work. So thanks for sharing that. Chris, what are you hearing from students?
I think very similar stories to what Fred just shared. Our students are loving this experience, and I think you see that as you're noticing students in the buildings. For the first couple of weeks when we opened, I would sit in the benches out in the front windows. We were trying to figure out what was going on with the floor, and things like that out there too. But I would just listen and overhear students. They don't know who I am. They don't know my relation to the building or anything like that too. But it was just so cool to hear them say and talk about the glow up of the building and how cool it is that we have spaces that look like other universities now, and to see and to call us Instagram worthy. It was nice. Like, I would run back to the office and giggle. But it's such a good feeling because, to see the students post on social media, again, it doesn't feel like it's that important, but it tells us that they are taking so much more pride in the space, in being a student here at UM-Dearborn, and it's just such a good feeling. So I hope all the students, anybody in the room, kind of supports that and everything too. And I just think it's an incredible investment that we made, and just I think it's really going to pay off for us. So thank you for your support.
Thank you. Yes, thank you to all of you. There's really much more we could say on this topic. There's actually more we planned to say on this topic originally because I am very ambitious with this event. But so I think you'll be reading more about this and some specific collaborations in Reporter soon. But right now I just want to thank my panelists. We've got one final video to queue up for you, and then Chancellor Scarlatta will be making some closing remarks.
Initially, when I started, I just wanted to go for an associate degree. I grew up a ward of the state. I didn't have family. I didn't have support or anything like that. My parents didn't go past 8th grade. And so, I don't know, like a part of me always wanted to do school. I didn't think I was going to get in. And then I got the acceptance letter while I was eating breakfast with my fiance. And I looked down and I was like, Rob, I got in. And he looked at me and it makes me want to cry right now because it was like a surreal moment. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I actually got into a good school and I'm going to do something with myself.
In the Summer Bridge program, we help students acclimate to our campus. Kim actually was coming from Henry Ford College, and Kim actually was very nervous to start the Summer Bridge program.
I had gotten here and I'm sitting in the car and I'm like, you can do this. And I was like, no, you can't. And Rachel, I had called her and told her what was going on. And I said, I don't think I'm going to come in. And she's like, I'll come out to you. And I was like, okay. And I didn't even know what Rachel looked like.
We met in the parking lot and I give her a big hug. You could tell like she really wanted to have that connection with somebody, and I think that really made the difference in her journey in our program and then continued into the school year.
I was nervous until I found out U of M offered the Go Blue guarantee. If it wasn't for the Go Blue guarantee, I probably wouldn't have actually pursued further. My first semester here, I became very fond of 2 professors, and that's Professor Kathleen Darcy as well as Professor Vitalis Eim. I had Dr. Darcy for Introduction to Criminal Justice. She is the reason I actually ended up pursuing a minor in criminology and criminal justice. Like, that is what you want out of a professor, somebody who is compassionate, somebody who understands, who is there to support you and wants to see you succeed the way you deserve to succeed. I've done a TED Talk for my first class here at U of M, and my TED Talk was specifically on foster care children aging out of the system and the statistics of where they end up. And I'm literally the 2 to 3% that like make it to a 4-year degree. Might have taken me 20 years to do it, but I made it to a 4-year degree, and I'm part of that 2 to 3% that actually is able to.
I think Kim was awarded the Chancellor's Medallion because of her grit, her determination. She's involved in the Dearborn Support Office with the food pantry. She's doing great things with SOAR. She's highly active in TRIO and having such high accolades in her classes, graduating with honors. To see all of that come to fruition and to compare her to the student that I met with in the parking lot, it's fantastic to see the amount of growth that she's had. I'm just so proud of Kim.
When I got the call from the Chancellor herself, she told me that I was the Chancellor Medallion recipient. I couldn't stop telling her how honored I was. And I had so much help along the way. And it was just, I felt acknowledged.
I am absolutely delighted to present you with this top honor, this University Awards to a graduating senior, the Chancellor's Medallion. Congratulations.
Kimberly Ann Burgess.
Now that I have my bachelor's and I have graduated, I want to help people. I want to be like an advocate for people who don't have that voice. And everyone deserves a helping hand. And it doesn't matter where you come from. I really do think that everyone does deserve a helping hand.
Shouldn't have ended with this story. Sorry. It gets me every time. So, isn't that a remarkable story? I know I see a lot of, okay. It's a powerful reminder that each and every one of us helps our students succeed in ways big and small every day. I want to thank all of our panelists, and I especially want to thank Mike, Michael, and Kimberly for sharing their stories. Will you please stand up and be acknowledged? thanks of course to all of you for your hard work, for your dedication, your commitment to these students, to each other, to this community, and to us succeeding and continue to succeed and to reach that excellence that I know we all want. Please really continue the work, and I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Thanks to our guests too for taking the time to be here today. I know it was a long program, but I hope you enjoyed it, and for supporting our university and its mission. Now, I encourage you to stick around and enjoy our winter carnivals and some of the food, and make sure to get a Polaroid with Bruce the Goose. Go Blue and go Dearborn.